Here's a picture of a seal affected by beach pollution, just straight up. The seal looks like it died because of the plastic around its face, and it couldn't breathe. And it just shows you how just throwing things on the ground can affect so many other things than you would have thought originally. In this picture, you can see how beach pollution has affected the water by a surfer surfing in a tunnel of water that is just filled with nasty, gross trash. And this is just a representation of how bad it's getting. Here's another picture of a kid in water, and just looks like he's having an okay time, but I mean, it's just so filthy around him, and it just shows you how just poor countries just don't really do anything about it and just kind of conform to what's around them and just accept it and don't do anything about it. And here's a picture of just trash on the beach laying down, just people after having a party, it looks like just left the beach, and it just shows you how all the ignorance can kind of just clod up together and just become a bigger mess than it was really intended to, and just left there, and it's kind of just a haunting sight. Here's a picture of a huge beach that is just filled with trash, just over capacity with trash, and it kind of just shows how just people not picking up can kind of just add up and then just become just a wasteland of filth, and it just does nothing good for our environment. Here's a picture of a man who was probably fishing and just caught up a bunch of trash that was in the water as a result of beach pollution. And you can just see how just throwing it on the sand can go straight from the sand to the water, just infecting the whole sea and all the creatures in it. Here's a picture of just sheer ignorance and someone just leaving their truck on the beach, which is right by the ocean, which will eventually break up the parts of the truck and go into the ocean and harm all the little creatures um, and mess up the ecosystem out there. Here's a picture of a man in his canoe trying to go through this trash that's on the sea, and it just shows you how bad it's gotten and how no one does anything. They just keep on going throughout their days as if it was nothing, but it really is something, and it's just a horrible sight to see. So here's a picture of like a canal type um, beach-like scene that's just filled with trash, and it just shows you how the trash moves throughout the water and just dumps it in other places, so it makes those other places just filthy. Here's a picture of just a bunch of trash on the shoreline, and so it's either resulted from people just throwing it on the shore, or this trash coming from another shore that was carried by the waters, and it's just not a fun sight to see, and it just really hurts because of ignorance.
What you see is a river that has been polluted with chemicals and trash. Because of the chemicals, a reaction has occurred to make the water red. This water can no longer be used to sustain human life until it has been cleaned and treated with even more chemicals. Because we create so much trash, we no longer know where to put it. Because of this problem, people think that we should just burn it and create more pollution and more problems, not only in our water, but in the air we breathe as well. Because people no longer know about trash cans, they throw the trash everywhere possible. In their gutters, on the street, everywhere. Because of this, when it rains, the trash gets moved down the drains and into the ocean, where it can be collected either on top of the water surface or below it. This is an example of such. Here is an example of people who are actually trying to make a difference by going out to a place where there's a lot of trash and trying to clean it up. You can tell how much trash there is by the trail that they have left. Because of how small the trail is, we can see how thick the layer of trash is because of how swiftly the trash on top will move in to close the gap. Here is a river that can now be called a sewage pipe or a natural sewage pipe because people have thrown trash into it and is slowly moving trash to either the ocean or to a lake. The trash that goes through here will end up either killing the fish or making it more of a hostile environment for them. Here is a picture of a surfer who is riding on the waves but is completely blind to the trash below him. We all think, oh, this will not affect us, but it will. It will slowly gather up underneath us until it overwhelms us. Here is an urban river. It has been polluted so badly that you can no longer see the water that is below it. Now it has become questionable whether it even exists. This water can no longer be used to supply resources to humans unless it is for a fire. But even then, it would not be a good example because if the water contains chemicals, instead of putting out the fire, it might make it worse. Because of how much plastic we use, we might make enough plastic to coat the entire earth with it. Enough plastic to cover our beaches and all our resources and all the places that we hold precious. This beach is more of a above ground landfill than it is of a tourist attraction. Here is a person off the shore of a beach we created for him out of the wastes that we have made as a society. We create so much that is becoming hazardous to us and to those around us. Lastly, here's the modern representation of us as a society, a combined person made out of trash, made out of our own wastes, because we are too lazy to pick up after ourselves, after others, and the environment.